In today's video, we're going to talk about the balanced plate method. This is a very quick visualization to help you construct your plates when it comes time to either portion yourself out or order your bowl and tell the person behind the counter what you like on your bowl or your salad, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to scroll down here just to the picture. It's very self-explanatory, but I want to talk you through the pieces just a little bit. You can see your beverage. Obviously, want to keep that as low calorie and low sugar as possible. Water, seltzer, diet soda, things like that are usually the best. Kombuchas are also great, as you know that I love those. But when it comes to the actual plate, we can have a cup of fruit always. But when we really think about probably lunch and dinner, the main makeup of our plate's not necessarily going to have fruit as much, although fruits as snacks, fruits at breakfast, fruits at lunch or dinner, great all the time. But really what we're going to see here is our plate with veggies, proteins, a starchy carb, and a fat. So this concept here, this ratio on our plate is really what we like to strive for. When we portion out our meals, we want half of that plate to look like veggie and fruit heavy. Okay, this is really good for us from a fiber standpoint. This is great at getting tons of micronutrients that support our immune system, cellular function, and all other kinds of functions in the body. And it also is really good at keeping you feeling full. That's that fiber element. Okay, this is going to be high satiety, making you feel like you're not just digesting those foods super quickly and then you're ready for another meal or most likely a sugary snack. We want a quarter at least of our plate to have protein. Okay, so this is going to vary between person to person and vary for goal specific, but at least 25% of the plate should be some sort of lean protein. Okay, some sort of chicken, beef as limited as possible, fish, things like that. If you're vegetarian, you want to potentially have your tofus, your meat alternatives. If you are a vegetarian, though, a good rule of thumb is whatever the next highest protein content food, protein rich food would be and would satisfy that sort of area of the plate. So if you have a lot of beans, that would be sort of the 1/4 of the plate that you want to heavy up on, even though it does sort of count in that veggie, legume, starch department. For vegetarians, it's just you want to pick and choose whatever the highest protein option is. Maybe that's eggs if you're not vegan, and make that and just count that towards your protein. Don't think too much about it other than that. Okay, so then you have our starch. We want to keep maybe what looks like here is an eighth of sort of a starchy carb. That's going to be your potatoes. That's going to be your rice. Generally speaking, if you're coming from America, the starch and the veggie ratios are swapped here. In reality, again, not all carbs are bad, but the starchy carbs, the processed grains, the processed carbs, that we really want to keep to a minimum. So that's about an eighth of the plate. And the last eighth here is our fat content. So this isn't something that you're necessarily going to see in your ingredients or in the list of things that you're eating on your plate. Fat is in most everything, but there are exceptions where you are having maybe avocados, where you can specify, you can kind of corner out that eighth of the plate for fatty foods. However, if you are having protein sources outside of the really lean meats like chicken, red meat is going to have fat in there as well. Especially if you're roasting vegetables, you're probably going to cook with some sort of neutral oil or olive oil. And your fat's going to be included there. So it's not necessarily going to be something that you see as a little pie chart on your plate. That said, it's important to keep in mind because we do cook with fats, think butter, think olive oil. You most likely won't need to specifically look at a pie chart of fat on your plate. Like I said before, it's going to get rolled up into everything else. But make sure when you're cooking that you are moderating the amount of fats that you're using to cook with. Lots of times when we're roasting vegetables, we're putting a lot of olive oil on there. And while olive oil is great for us and fats are great for us, we still need to keep those in moderation, even if they're high quality fats, because they're very calorie dense. So this is the balanced plate method. Really try to stick to this as much as possible. Little variances, again, aren't going to be the worst thing in the world, but make sure we have half that plate protein, half that plate veggie, 1/4 protein, an eighth starch, and an eighth fat with your low cal, low sugar beverage and cups of fruit throughout the day as well.